Okay, welcome everybody to Legends of the Yak. Today we have a special guest. Many people might recognize you.
Special.
Very special. Not many people probably recognize the man because he doesn't fish on top, he fishes down below.
Down below, mate.
There we go. I think you have an Instagram handle. What is it called? Rubber Scales.
Rubber Scales, yeah. It's all a bit of old news these days, but there's footage there to update and put up.
Yeah, but you made videos about Rubber Scales.
Yeah, but they probably are 12, 15 years old now, yeah. I mean, they were some of the original videos. That's why people kind of locked onto them. But now there's a hell of a lot of stuff on social media.
Yeah.
And I've kind of fallen off the path a bit, but the footage is there.
Yeah.
And it'll get back up one day.
So for you,
Don't forget about the Rubber Scales.
For people who don't know, Rubber Scales, his real name is Broderick Whittaker. Marcus was like, we have to get Brod on here, bro. He's too good.
Marcus.
Do you remember Marcus?
I got a funny story about Marcus.
We'll leave that for later. So I mean, Marcus mentioned in the video when we were chatting, like he was talking about one of his advantages is because he fishes is because he can see what's happening down below.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're a down below man. You don't. I mean, if you fished on top once or twice in your life, or really, it's probably because you're forced to because everyone else is diving and you're stuck on top.
Yeah, I mean, well, back to like the advantages of seeing both. I mean, like if you see the reaction, even a ski is a huge attracting device for fish as well, you know. So you don't realize, opposed to a ski boat, obviously a fish will come and have a look, but a ski, I mean, that little paddle. I mean, the fish will generally just come up and have a look at that. Besides the fact if you're diving or not diving.
Yeah.
And even just drifting with the ski over the years, just bobbing there with the extra size thing next to you quietly, you know, the amount of stuff that it just comes up and has a look. You know, fish will come up and have a look at you, but now they got this extra thing to come up and have a look at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, was always a beneficial thing, you know, from the ski. But the ski is, it's amazing how useful it is for spearfishing. You know, you think about a normal float and you're dragging a stringer and crayfish, you know, a ski pulls along the surface a lot easier than that.
Yeah.
And even in a bit of wind and a bit of bad weather, you know, as long as you're holding that nose into the wind, it really is a lot easier to pull through the water. Yeah. Considering the size of it. And
but I mean, the first time you ever dived off a ski, can you remember that far?
I can remember. I mean, it's.
And what made you all of a sudden dive off a ski?
Well, somebody had a ski, and I always thought of it, you know, as something you could put the real story is putting the fish away.
Yeah, the sharks were eating the fish on the float.
I mean, it was nothing like back then, you know, and nothing like today. Back then,
yeah.
You know, there wasn't nearly as much of a problem. But it was also, if you didn't have a boat, you wanted to get out there and get a bit further, so you needed something.
It's a long way to swim to the drop off from the float.
A long way to swim, and then you want to drag fish around, then you are going to get sort of a lot of inquiries. So I always thought of the option of having somewhere to put your fish. And a mate had a ski, and it was lying in his garden, and if I remember correctly, I mean, I think it probably there were no paddlers back then.
No, there were very few people.
There was not, I don't think there were. It was a simple ski, had one sort of little rod holder in it.
Yes.
It had a hatch in the middle, but I mean, that was it.
And it was small. The hatch entrance was tiny. And it was a little box.
But I mean, it was a device that you've obviously built on over the year.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's give this a go, and I got the ski. It literally took 2 people. You couldn't carry it down to the beach by yourself. I mean, it was they were proper big, heavy riders. Tanks, you know. And I think my first launch with it was Adam Schlatey, just to the right of the tidal pool, and then made my way to the river mouth, which most of the guys know these days. You know, I don't know if the guys know the river mouth, but there is a very predominant, straight off the river mouth, a north-facing ledge, you know, which in the north to south.
Sand or rock?
Rock. I mean, there's a huge block of reef out there. Probably the biggest reef within, you know, 20, 30 k's each way.
I mean, that specific spot was, back in the day, was actually Carl Schlom's and Rob Waite's heyday, where they used to go specifically to target the big kuda.
Yeah.
So I know exactly where you're talking about.
It's a magical spot. And especially when that north-south current starts pushing, a lot of the fish get pushed up to the front of that big block of reef there. And obviously it's broken up in different shapes back towards Mshlady. But I mean, that was the stomping ground back in the day, you know. Paddle there, funny old paddle, and I mean, it was quite a mission. I remember it was pretty unstable, you know. The weight was extra heavy. It didn't sit easy in the water.
And the seat was about this deep, so you almost sat on top of it.
Seat was about that deep, and got there, and water was clean. Dived down, and what you did back then, still do today. I mean, you don't throw a little anchor. I literally used to take a little loop of your float line and then hook it on around a rock. Then you make sure it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Hooked up there, and I can't remember all the fish I got that day, but I did get a salmon on top of that rock, and obviously the fish there these days are not like they were back then. And it's the most picturesque salmon I probably ever shot in my life, and like it was only like 12 meters on top of the ledge. I remember coming up over the ledge and just having a field of rock salmon. Absolutely, like, I mean, I've never seen the rock salmon like that before, and then just this one darker salmon in the middle, and it was just the most beautiful thing.
Donated.
I got that fish, and that was my first, that was my prize of the day. And I got one of those rock salmon, and I remember hitting the beach that day, and this paddle ski thing.
It's easy.
It wasn't so easy.
Yeah.
Even a couple of fish there, I remember paddling back, and like, whoa, we were like this.
So I'm not, and also you're in your wetsuit. It's not easy come paddling in the wetsuit.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you've got extra gear, so there's quite a bit of weight. Obviously, the weight belt being the main issue.
Yeah.
But paddled back with the wind back to next to the tidal pool there, and like I was like, okay, this can work, And I can't remember then thereafter where I got my first ski from you, but it was definitely a game on at that point. And we started developing a few extra things, a bit of extra space to put things away, and then obviously the boingy came along, and then took it out in different weather and tried it out in different techniques. I mean, for drift diving, it's such a special thing as well. You could literally plan your dive, drift a good couple of Ks, and I'd leave the ski on the beach. You weren't too worried about it at the time.
Yeah.
And then you could, walk back up. And it would be pretty simple. You could hang a flasher from there as well and just go.
Hang a flasher from the back. I think I did it in Mozam. I think Marcus did it. We were dived off a ski and we hang a flasher off the back handle. Yeah. And the ski bobbing just makes the flasher move for you.
Exactly. It's just bobbing like that, and you just drift with it. I mean, it's
except then a grey shark ate the flasher.
Well, I mean, there's a story there off Westbrook as well. Like back in the day as well, the super blue water that used to come in there, we used to get quite a few wahoo. There were some really good wahoo days. I think Marcus even experienced a few of those days.
Yeah, I think Renal and Nadu even shot a wahoo about 3 or 4 years ago at Westbrook, that big one as well.
And but it always that super blue water would be in a honking north-south current with a howling southwest.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be difficult conditions for the ski, and it would normally push you inwards.
Yeah.
But you could make it work. But I promise you, the skis were a bit heavy there, and I mean, the paddling, the shit you used to do, but the fish used to be there. So drifting down,
make it,
and you'd get back to the point because there's no way you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
And I know the wire used to be quite thick, and I remember the one day. The flash was hanging out, a big squid like we normally do on the bottom, just a plastic squid, and like looking around, and I had seen a few fish. It was the second day. The first day we done really well, the second day, and just sort of hanging the flasher there. And just seeing a flash down there, absolute flash, and just seeing the squid like explode.
Disintegrate.
But I remember I was looking down, straight down at that time, and it happened so quick. Obviously we know Wario, incredible fast feeders. And I just saw the squid bloody disintegrate, and like, nothing else, but I was looking straight down, and then only at the last minute I saw there, and like a warrior just spitting out the little pieces.
That wasn't so tasty after all.
Anyway, he paid for the squid, but I mean,
did you shoot him?
I know you got it.
Oh, yes, you did.
Anyway, so those were some of the drifts we used to do out there in the really good days, and it was super effective, especially the fact once you put the boingy on the front of the ski, I mean, the technique generally was you could pull the ski in behind you, and you dive down, so letting out the line. You could actually even sit there in the midwater and kind of hang on the rope, keep yourself pretty static, pretty still. Super effective, because like the least swimming around you're doing the better, and you're just drifting, holding on the line. And a fish would come in, and then you can let go. You've got a huge loop of line, which you could then sort of have freedom on your gun. You obviously have a big loop, so you weren't pulling the ski. You could kind of slide up on something, pull the trigger before you had any pressure pulling from the ski.
Yeah.
And then you had the boingy, and you just could let go 30, 40 meters of line and just basically let it all go. Just slide up to the top and just watch the ski come sort of skidding slowly towards you. You know, it's incredibly effective.
Except when you shoot a big fish and your fish is attached to the ski.
Well, your fish is...
Marcus and I were in Milibangalala, and Marcus is obviously just walking me through diving. Because I mean, the only time I ever spearfished was in Mozambique. I was a Mozambique spear fisherman in a pair of baggies, and that was me. I loved it. Yeah. And we diving on the outside ledge at Millie in the sand. Boingy to the ski. I never had a real gun. I just had a gun attached to the ski.
Then, the initial days we didn't. It was it's actually better without a wheel gun.
The gun was attached to the ski, and I used to pull the rope, and I used to hold the rope so the ski was right next to me. And then I would shoot the fish, and then obviously let it go.
Yeah, it sounds right.
So Marcus was diving, and he went down, and I think that Wahoo that he shot was about 19 kilos. But now I'm watching him, and I look up, and there's one that had come literally to look at me, and he was like sitting 1.5 meters away from me. He was so close, I didn't know what to do with myself. And it was an absolute monster, and I missed it. I was like, oh!
What happened?
Reload, because I was useless.
Yeah, of course.
and the same thing, Marcus was still playing with his Wahoo, still bringing in and everything. And then another one came in, and I freaking swam down and I plugged this thing. And Marcus looks at me, and he just started laughing. He says, what you going to do now? I was like, what do you mean? Double ski heading out to sea with the Wahoo attached to it.
No, but that's perfect. I mean, that's.
But the problem was the fish obviously eventually the spear pulled out because the fish did back and forth. But I mean, that ski just took off, and we were like, oh, that wasn't a good idea. A ski's heading out to sea.
One of my worst stories at Westbrook. Same thing. Swam out there. I paddled out there the one day from the launch and went straight to Ghost House. And for some reason, I wasn't using a standard buoy gear with a Dynamo in the middle. Yeah. I was using one of those black straps, those buoy straps.
Yes.
It's got the 1,000 little black fibers.
Oh, yeah. It's like an old, we used to call it a buoy gear, how you circle in the car.
I can't remember why. For some reason, I thought this was a good idea, but that's what I had.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's in the afternoon, paddled to Deep Ghost House there. Hey, I don't want to jump the water. Look up, like it's just Wahoo, wall to wall. Like, unravel the gun.
What do I do now?
Unravel, load up, and like all the time in the world, but now there's this one monster fish there, and I don't know how big. I didn't get him in the end. So I went through the others and I got up to that good one and plugged it, and to this day I've never seen my boat move so fast in my life. I remember coming up like this, the ski was already here and look, literally ducked
under your head.
It was going so fast, and in that split second, I'd never before thought about losing my ski.
Now what am I going to do?
Normally you could just let it go, and that was the best thing. The fish just fights, the fish loses.
Gets tired, and then you
tired quickly,
swim after your
ski.
ski.
It up, you swim after. That split second, I thought I'm not going to see my ski again. Right?
Yeah.
So I put my hand in and I grabbed onto it, which I'd never done before.
Yeah.
And then just go for
a toe.
And I put my head in the water like this, and what I just see is that buoy go, wow. And now. It was
the buoyancy snapped.
The buoyancy snapped, and now the outside snapped. But now you got 1,000 little fibers inside this buoyancy now, and the buoyancy's getting longer. It's going ding 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 ding, and I'm like, these dings went on for about 2 minutes.
It felt like 2 hours.
Can you imagine how long those little last ones are getting? Yeah. And eventually got to the last one, and now I'm swimming trying to push the ski, and the last one's going ding ding.
Fish gone.
Fish gone, and the line just shot off into the distance and like never to be seen again.
And there was a gun, everything gone with it.
Gun, everything gone, and no line now because now you can't dive without your line. You've got to be connected to the. You can't dive down, then your ski will be long gone. So now I'm not connected to the ski, so I paddle all the way back to Westbrook. I'm like, that's why we were there. Okay.
I'm going to get reloaded and start again.
So I go to the lifeguards and I go bum some of that 40 mil yellow lifeguard shark float line. Now I'm trying to tie a knot like this to put my, paddle back out there to Ghost House. I mean, obviously I didn't see another fish.
They're all gone.
All gone. I paddle back at the end of the day.
Oh dear, that's classic.
That was quite funny. But then you obviously that big Wahoo day.
44 kilo Wahoo.
44 kilo, that was...
Adam Slotey.
Adam Slotey, also a bit of a crazy story. I mean, I'd been diving the whole day, and I mean, it would have been a long day. Last dive, I caught last dive, went down, shot a bronzy.
Is that a fisherman's last dive? You know the one where it says last dive?
I'd said about 8 last dives. Really. Yeah, it was last dive.
Last cast.
Oh, that was the last dive. The east was blowing now, I was over it. And it was probably 20 meters, heading towards the drop off, but not in the shallow stuff, in the mid area.
Yeah.
Shot a bronzy, came up off the bottom, and obviously it wasn't roller guns back then, it's all the basic guns.
Yeah.
Come off the bottom and swim to the top, and a bit of sort of dirtier stuff on top, and look up at the last minute, where's the surface, and there's this why you swim straight over the top of me. But I mean, that stage I wasn't too sure of the south. Anyway, the thing with Wahoo is they love to be ignored. So at that stage, the only chance to get it on that fish is if you completely ignore
it.
Like,
look away.
So I thought, I saw it, put my head down, got to the top, and took the bronzy, and I still remember the whole slow motion, do everything slowly. Took the bronzy, I twisted the barb off, and it came straight off to the bronzy, and went like this. I don't want to do anything fast, because I know I don't know those fish, but generally if you're very you ignore them, you do like...
They just keep coming to look at you.
They keep coming to look at you. I go, he loves to like...
He's inquisitive.
But as soon as you look up and do that, well, it's
eye contact, he's out of here.
Eye contact or anything like that, he's gone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I managed to get the fish off, the spear in, and I sort of loaded it up now, but now the line's not all perfect though. I hadn't let out a lot of line, just bronzy. Loaded it up and I look up, hey, there he is, still there. But it was at the top, wasn't great. So I could chase him now, but half a chance, the gun's loaded. Oh, shit, now I've hit the end of my line. So the ski's going that way with the wind, hit the end of the line.
So you unclip.
So I unclip it, and I still keep chasing. Now it's that normal game like this, but it's not clean, so I'm keeping on his tail.
Yeah.
Last minute he turns, I'm like... Anyway, pull the trigger, hit the back of the fish, and as I stretched out my arm before I pulled the trigger, I just remember looking at the reel and just seeing the line like this.
Around your wrist? Wrapped
around the reel. It's got the reel, but I was like wrapped around the reel like this. So obviously, bang a wire like that, it was a big fish. As soon as it's going to take off, it's going to be game over.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger, hit the fish, saw the line was wrapped around the reel, and for some reason, the fish did absolutely nothing for the first 2 seconds, maybe it was 1.5 seconds, and I saw that, hit the fish, it didn't move. I've never seen a fish do that before, like especially while I was spearheaded. Normally you pull the trigger at a wire and it moves before you.
Yeah.
And in that split second, I didn't know which way the line went like this. I just went, and it unraveled. And I could have gone this way and it would have been wrong. And I went that way, and as it took off, the line came out the reel perfectly.
And you were like, wow.
I was like, wow, bro. And then it was wow. Then it just, it told me literally I must have been behind the drop off. I mean, it told me straight out to sea. Eventually got to it, did land the fish, but normal scenario was hanging on by a scruff. Yeah. And then turned around and couldn't see the ski.
The ski was gone to the wind.
I couldn't see the ski. I mean, I couldn't even see it at that stage. It was a northeast bump.
Yeah.
So I just had to swim, bro. Swim in the direction that the ski had kind of gone.
And it was getting dark in the afternoon, wasn't it?
It was getting dark, but I mean, it was bumpy, and I couldn't see very well. And I eventually had to see the ski like 3-4 minutes after swimming. And I managed to catch the ski just before it got through the back line. It was like I had to swim for like 15-20 minutes, swim my arse off, like trying to hold it. I know the ski's going to wash over the beach, and I caught it just before it got to the back line, and everything was fine. And
loaded up and off you went.
Loaded up and off I went. But I mean, it was just, that fish was the luckiest fish ever. Yeah. I mean, I had...
But it wasn't, is that an SA record, wasn't it? Or not?
Well, yeah, it was 44.
For a shore dive?
No, well, SA record. But... yeah, it was a bit of a funny story. I knew it was big, but I was thinking like 38 kilos or something like that, and ended up cutting it in half at a Chinaman friend's house and weighed it in 2 pieces. And
weighed it in 2 pieces?
Well, we couldn't weigh it in one, like it maxed out the scale. And, geez, I was thinking,
well, they weighed 2 halves and then added together.
Yeah. I was like, geez, 44 kilos. And I didn't do the right procedure of like taking the right pictures and everything. They actually said they'd give it to me, but it wasn't. I didn't have any of the right criteria. So
that doesn't matter. It was a fish of a lifetime, wasn't it?
Fish of a lifetime. I got some crazy pictures. I hope I can find them. I had my golf back in the day, and it wouldn't fit in the boot. It was too long, and I couldn't have it like sticking next to my head like this. So I ended up having to put it sideways in the back seat with its head out the window. So
that would be classic driving around the road.
And I drive around like it looks like a person with his head out the side window, like this.
That's classic.
I hope I can find those pictures.
I mean, okay, so that's a couple of stories, and like you say, but the thing for me is, it's like that. Everyone's like a fishing kayaks for fishing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And like you say, I think you were the first person I ever came across who was willing to spend the time on a ski, diving off a ski.
Yeah.
And the skis have changed over time, but I mean, the simple things for you that make it great to dive for ski, like.
Well, it's the same for a paddler, I guess, as well.
Other than affordability. If you don't have a boat and there's forks in the boat,
and then obviously getting the fish out of the water, which wasn't as big a problem back in the day as it is now, but getting the fish out the water.
Instead of having the fish on your float, you put them inside the hatch.
Put it inside the hatch, and now you can put a few other things inside the hatch. And
I suppose you can take a spare spear, you can take a spare...
Take spares, and for shooting a big fish, it really is great. The fact that you can let go and let it kind of just disappear, and you follow the ski, and it's got to pull a bit of the weight of the ski behind it, and the fish dive very quickly.
Yeah.
And then the space to store fish, you know, and like I said, it's a lot easier to pull through the water. I mean, if you picture your bag with a bag of bugs, just with 4 bugs in it and 2 fish. I mean, the dragon, that's incredible. Even with a ski with, 30, 40 kilos, if you get lucky in the boat, that is easier to pull. Yeah. Pull along behind you. You know?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm trying to think of the other bits and pieces, but yeah, it was really useful, you know. I'm trying to think. Remind me of some more things.
I mean, that's what it's just, for a lot of the guys out there don't associate a fishing kayak with diving from.
No.
There's a handful of guys that who have dived for it. There's a couple of guys that I know, from one guy specifically that I see him on Instagram a lot. He dives overseas in America for his ski, on his ski.
But I mean, the access to areas, especially. I mean, back in the day, there were quite a few skiers sort of starting to fish in the deeper spots. Yeah. And I could get out to the deeper spots now. So now I could shore dive, get out to the deeper spots, and be in amongst you guys in 22, 24 meters and whatever, and shoot fish when I wouldn't be able to do that shore diving, and it was super effective back in the days. A lot of times the guys weren't catching the fish, and out there I was
shooting them.
It's quite.
So when a fish doesn't eat bait, it always eats stainless steel.
We've heard that one before, haven't we? But it was always a funny thing having the guys fishing around you, and I mean I was getting out into the zones then, and the fish are here, guys, and the guys, where are they?
They're just not eating.
But at the same time, then those tuna would be around, and the guys would be catching tuna in between me, and I wouldn't even see tuna.
Yeah.
So it was always a mix-up of that. Yeah. So I'd say that the access, and
Well, it gives you options. Yeah. A ski gives you more options than just a simple straight off the shore dive.
Yeah, definitely gives you options. And like I said, the drifting scenario is very, very useful. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, we could, like I said, there's that whole part of a ski when it comes to ski is. You dive and everyone talks about a fish on a float is going to get charred by a shark.
Yeah, I mean that's. And
then of course you can take it and put it inside the fish hatch and you can carry on diving and not have your fish eaten.
That these days especially, I mean, like I said, it was almost back then. There was less of a problem. These days especially, that's the main game. If you can get the fish out the water, I mean.
And I mean, if you're organised, there's a lot of, and when I say organised, you have to be, but I mean, there's a lot of places in a ski to put your weight belt, to put your gun.
I mean, definitely bending spears, and if you travel from place to place, you can, okay, I'm done here, and go, I want to go over there. And I mean, even from the beach and getting out, there's no mess, no fuss. I mean, for sure, you got to get through the surf. Yeah. But I mean, I'm quite happy to get out, skip all that, and I want to go there, and I'm going to try this.
Yeah, I mean, to swim there to there is going to take you a lot longer.
It's not doable. Back to the drag issue, I mean, like once you've got something on your float, you're very restricted, especially with the current. But then again, especially with the current, we're talking about the drift element, it's very good for drifting. But now when there's strong current, you can jump on the ski.
And paddle back up.
Yeah. Like I was telling you those Wahoo stories, I mean, that's incredible current and wind. I mean, that's current pumping. And like, charging back up and repeating drifts.
The time that Marcus and I were in Millie, when we talked about, we did it in an afternoon and we did about 7 or 8 drifts along this. Marcus is pretty good like that because of his diving. The first time we jumped off, we saw a Wahoo and obviously went down the drift. When we got back off, paddled back up, and we did that like 7 times. I mean, we saw so many fish but 100%. Exactly like you're saying, normally if you swam out, that's gone. You're not getting back up there.
Yeah, that's a massive thing. Especially if you've got a little hot spot and you shoot a fish, and especially with you got stuff on a float, you shoot something, you sort it out, you drift back to the spot, and there's a bit of current. It's very difficult to get back in half a decent current, and obviously giving you the option to keep going back up. Like you say, 7 times. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge something. You know, if you want to keep repeating something. So I mean, even once you're out there, it's just to take a little break. If I hooked up on the bottom, you can hook up your boat quite easily. Like I said, I never used to use an anchor or anything. I used to wrap something around a rock, so you're very stationary. Yeah. spend a whole day out there.
Yeah.
You know, literally spend whole days out, jump on and
take a bottle of water and
take a chow.
Yeah.
You know, I
suppose it's like if let's say you're fishing on a boat and you're top man, you get a rest, you sit on the boat for a while, have something to chow, have something. Yeah, you can do that on a ski.
You don't have that option when you're shore diving. You can't take your sandwiches in your water, you know. And that's massive. Now you've turned your couple hour dive into, on a good day.
Well, you've made the effort to drive down to the beach and to get there. So instead of having be forced for 1 hour, you can push 3 hours. You know?
And you've saved yourself a lot of effort as well. I mean, you've paddled straight out to where you want to go. You're starting your dive where you want to be. And, you know, you're not having to swim around, I'll keep saying it, dragging whatever you're catching. You can just accumulate and just park off and then you know, paddle straight back in with speed, with haste. You know? No, it's not like, you must know, sometimes the swims back in are, you know, 45-minute, an hour mission, you know, with concern.
And the ski is 10 minutes. Once you've unkitted. 10
minutes straight back to where you want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, it's not for every conditions, but I mean, skis aren't for every
And there's definitely been the odd time where you might have shot 10 fish.
Yeah.
And try and drag 10 fish on a float versus 10 fish in a ski.
No, definitely. No, it's like I said, even more so, the crays. Yeah. The fish can almost pull a bit easy. You must know what it's like pulling just 8 crays in a bag. You're pulling a dead weight. Right? So I mean, I'll say that it's a lot easier just pulling 8 than pulling 8 crays.
Yeah.
So besides that, I mean, I love the aspect of.
But I mean, you just love diving. Let's be honest.
I love diving, but any diver loves the aspect of having a vessel there to jump on as well. You know, now it's the concern in your mind if you're a little bit wary, whatever, shark, well, you got the boat there, you can hop on, you know.
Yeah, you can almost feel just a little bit safer.
100%. That's why I was saying, started getting a bit further out and getting out to where the couple of skis were fishing on that 25-meter mark on the drop off. Hey, no problem. Hey, run it. I know if I run into a problem, and there are often problems, hey,
you can hop on the ski.
Hop on, you know, and you can move. You know, and your access to the 15, 20, you anywhere's a coconut.
Yeah.
And then, you know, plan A to B, drift to there. No, it's, I had my best years of diving were with the ski. I wouldn't dive without it.
Yeah.
I was handicapped. No, I'm not just saying, I was handicapped without it because, you know,
you become accustomed to using it.
Those days you were allowed to shoot, you forget, you were up to 32 fish a day.
32 fish?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a 10K cap, 10 fish cap. You were allowed so many per species and it could add up to...
So you'd calculated your maximum.
Just don't quote me on that, but that's, it was. This is, the early days it wasn't a 10 fish cap.
Yeah.
You know,
people are going about, I could talk about in one of the other videos, that remembering a lot of the stuff we talk about is sometimes 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Now, exactly that, your limits were very different to what the limits may be now.
It's at least 20, 25 years ago. Yeah, the first couple ski dives were definitely 20. No, they're a completely different game, you know?
Yeah.
So you could put a few more fish away, and a ski was a way to put them away.
Yeah. So I mean,
or within the.
So we talk about your wahoo. That's your trophy fish. But I mean, is there any other fish that may stick in your mind that was like off your ski that you shot or?
Off the ski, I remember going to Sodwana also in the very early days, and you know, my dad always knew I was a diver, and he was a bit of a fisherman at the beach, but your dad really doesn't know what you're really going out and do. Come back and tell him, and we didn't stay together. I should send him the message and tell him.
Yeah.
So he says he's going to Sodwana to do a bit of fishing. I said, can I bring my ski? Yeah, cool. I'll take my ski and get down to the beach, and he's sort of a bit wary. I'm still a lighty, you know, but I'm not lighty, but I just out of school and skis weren't popular, so it was a bit of he was watching what was going on. Paddled out of Sodwana, paddled way down south. Lucky that not second reef, third reef is at hotspots, or I can't remember exactly. I think it's called hotspots. Anyway, I had a most glorious dive. I mean, I got a good couple of cuda, and I got a sailfish, you know. And I probably was the first person to ever shoot a sailfish on a ski. Yeah. And remember, my dad thought I was probably going out and come back with something for chow.
He probably thought you'd come back with a little bottom.
Hey, come back at the beach, and there's this cuda lined up, and the sailfish lying across the whole deck, I can't even paddle.
That's the tail under your arm.
I saw him, my pops just giving, jeez, what is so done, bro? I love this, a sailfish. The last thing he thought I was going to come over was with a sailfish. You know? I think I got due respect from my dad. He's like, okay, I see what you do now, boy. Okay, cool.
You can do it again. Oh yeah, so
had some great days with the cobs again. Your access to deeper spots, you could go hit those deeper spots, and great days just on the cobs, and always remembering to put them in the right way. You know, once you put them in this way, you try and pull them out that way.
You got to put them in the right way. You learn. You learn.
You learn. You got to put your finger in its bum, pull it out. Otherwise, preferably put a tail first.
Perfectly. Preferably.
I know. I'm trying to think of other days. I mean, Mozambique also.
Yeah, we've had some good trips in Mozambique.
Great.
I mean, I know you would dive on your off day, because for those of you who don't know, we were. Obviously, when we had the original Pandan kayak fishing comps, it was on Supersport.
Pandani we used to put Express.
We used to put
beautiful place that I've ever seen diving wise.
We put together a lot of TV shows that went on to Supersport about the comp.
Yeah.
And you were my man. You were my right hand man. Bro, I used to drive the jet ski and used to jump off.
Yeah.
Man, excuse me for swearing, but you know how many times I thought I lost you.
I know. Well, that was a.
It's like Brod would jump off. You'd jump off with your camera in a housing, you know, and you'd like, just drop me here. Okay, cool. Drop you off. Waiting. Looks like, where's Brod? No, he's down there. But now that Pandan Express moves it.
That's the thing. A lot of the time, I'd be down on the bottom, and you guys would be.
That's it. So now the jet ski's moving, and now you like, okay. So you come back up, and obviously when you come back up, especially on a windy day, there's Brod. So it was tough.
The funniest thing is when I come up, I get a breath, and I go back down. The guy hasn't seen me take the one breath. Go back down again, come up the second. She's like, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Yeah.
But one thing that sticks in my mind is that one footage you got at the Pandan Express when you drop off the back, and it was on the sand one day.
Yeah.
And you went down, and it was a shallower, like the closer to the back of the reef, and you had like those GTs that just came around you, and they're actually trying to come into the housing of your camera. Do you remember?
I almost see the red
and you even put the housing on the floor, on the bottom.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And the fish came into it, and they were darting around you, but there were just GTs everywhere. And you're like, you get there in the afternoon, and you show the guys like, hey, check this, and everyone's like, bro, we've been fishing there the whole day. We didn't get a bite.
It's actually the same thing. Is like, obviously fish don't always feed.
Yeah.
And mine of those days we were out there, and they're like going up, and guys, the fish are everywhere, and like, fish are just not charging. And when they turn on, they turn on. I mean, we know that quite clearly, you know. But there used to be so much fish there. Again, with that huge current pushing up onto that corner, and obviously the current whipping around there, and just the collections of crazy stuff. I mean, Indian mirrors. I remember the shoals of pompano.
I remember you shooting that one monster Indian mirror fish.
Yeah, Indian mirrors, those bludgers.
The pompanos?
Pompano, like I'd never seen pompano.
I think I'm the only one who's caught a pompano from a kayak before. Yeah, you were there.
That's when you fall hook into the tail one. I don't remember that.
Okay, so what actually happened was you were diving, but you were there, and I was in the comp, fishing in the comp.
You must have followed it.
100%. So what actually happened was, they were sitting on the top, and they were just knew how they mouthed the water. And they had a little Rapala X-Wrap, but it was drifting probably 2 meters behind me, and I was busy actually changing to baits.
Yeah.
Next minute, my rod went off. I was like, okay, and I'm fighting. And
maybe you did think it was.
And then you jumped off the ski to have a look. You said like, hey, just let me jump down and have a look see what it is. And you jumped off and you swam down. You know, like you came up. And you're like, bro, it's a pompano, and you foul hooked it. And I was like, loosened the drag. I literally loosened the drag. And I played that thing for probably another half an hour. And then I eventually, because that's like a species you don't catch in a species comp. You know what I mean? You don't catch it. I mean, it's like a complete bonus multiplier.
And it is
so eventually I got it. Yeah, it counts, but I mean, you don't catch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, eventually I got it, loaded in, tried to now take the X-Wrap, and it had hooked it in the spine of its dorsal. And the hook had gone so I had to cut the hook off. So I could have literally, but I mean, you don't know. Like, you're like, I land this thing, and I hit the beach, and I think it was about a 7.5 kilo pompano in the comp. They're like, nah, you didn't catch that. I was like, I did. So yeah.
I remember seeing this pompano on a few trips you did, and then they kind of got less and less.
Yes.
But fields, like herds of them across the surface, and like 100 foot of water there out in the deep, and eating all those, we call them little ball biter crab. And just looking across the top is most amazing. I mean, you think about a pompano in the whitewater, he lives in the surf, but obviously this was something.
Yeah, I mean, and remember that where you're talking about is 40 meters deep, eh?
Yeah, it's deep, and they're on the top, like tailing, it's like not permanent, a pompano. Like, it's beautiful. Such memorable dives there, like you say, the amount of fish that used to gather there, and like, and obviously quite friendly. They hadn't really been approached by many people.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so I mean, the diving aspect, like I keep saying, on a kayak is such an unknown part of kayak fishing.
I'm surprised it hasn't taken off more. I mean, I don't know.
You know what? There's been people that have tried it, but no one, I don't think, has ever persevered to work out so that they feel so comfortable doing it. Which is to me also was the difference that I saw you over the time, was you persevered, you fine-tuned what worked for you on a ski.
Yeah.
And you was so comfortable with diving off that ski that that's, like you say, that was your go-to version of diving.
Anything you try and get good at, you fine-tune it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and maybe let's say it's riding a bike and you can't get comfortable with a bike, so you never ride it again.
Exactly, maybe you're right.
And I'm not comfortable riding it that way, so I'll just stick to what I know.
The reason I don't do it as much anymore is obviously my back's a bit buggered. So, but otherwise, I would, use it.
Yeah.
A lot more. I mean, launching a boat's a mission. I got a little boat, and I do launch, and it's effort. And I mean, if it wasn't for a little back issue, then I would still be using it. Yeah. So, I mean, what else we got on our?
Yeah, we have a look. I'm just looking at my list. Keep looking at my list.
That was another thing about. Obviously, everyone's trying to put their fish away these days. People are not using kayaks, whatever. So they are building all kinds of new styles of buoys to stash things on and try and put equipment away and everything. And there hasn't been something that's really come out which is nice and streamlined and proper. Like, you don't need necessarily a whole ski. A ski's nice. You can jump on it and travel, but something which is a nice little...
It's like anything, it evolves.
Yeah. And the new plan is people don't want to dive unless they've got something good.
I mean, you get harassed by sharks a lot more now than you did in the past.
A lot more. So maybe it's a little something, a little mini-size ski, not something... Half size, I mean, so big, and it's easy to carry down. You can just put all your stuff in there. Easy to pull. I mean, you can't stress enough. Just easy to pull behind you. Everything's out of the water for shark reasons. Super portable, but it doesn't have to be something you jump on top of. And the guys haven't come up with something good and proper like that. So I mean, I'd be the first on the menu for something like that.
First on the menu, eh?
I would. Especially I'm catching a lot more of the specimens these days, and you got to carry a lot of nets, water bottles and whatever. And the guys would start carrying a bit of their chow and their waters and plan to dive a bit better with ease, Because even with the fish bags and the floats, the fish are still dripping their blood in the water, and people are paranoid about it.
No.
There are teeth always around these days.
Some people, the idea of just a shark coming to eat their fish is enough to say, I won't dive ever.
And I never came back.
But I mean,
funny. The funny story about Marcus. I can't remember what stage he was at. He paddle ski fish, but then I was also diving out. This is mainly at Westbrook. I was also diving at ski.
I mean, you and Marcus back in the day were probably the only two guys who used to fish or dive Westbrook often.
Yeah.
There was we're going back to, you could pinpoint the 3 or 4 people that fished Westbrook. Yeah. Not the people we see now. I'm talking this.
Yeah, but there's no population that launched at Westbrook. There was nothing.
Consistently.
That same big funny. No, it actually wasn't that ski. I used to paddle. I used to live on the corner right by the Westbrook River. So I used to paddle from the other side of Wahoo. And paddle. So I had quite a bit of a longer paddle. So that was my mission every day. There was no launching. I mean, I could have put it in the car and there was nobody launching from the main beach. Back in the day. Anyway, so I think Marcus was fishing a bit, and then he wanted to come dive. There were those days when I was shooting, and he wasn't catching, and I can't remember how it all worked out. So he came with the one day, and I think it was the one day we both got a couple fish, but I was the old technique: you pull the ski up, and then you have the flash on top of the boat, and you sort of dive down. Well, underneath the boat, you dive down and hit the bottom. I would sit down, dive down, and I would like to sit on the bottom, kind of look up. And then I get down to the bottom, I sort of start looking up and here, gong, hey Marcus, shot a fish. So this went on the first day, and he got a couple fish. I think I got a couple as well. You might have got 1 or 2 more than me that day, and I was like, what the hell's going on? What's going on?
This is competitiveness coming in,
So he was all amped, and I think we went the next day. Sorry, Marcus, if I got the story a little bit wrong. So now I'm like, Jesus, bro, what's going on here? So next day I'm diving down. Hey, dive down. As I hit the bottom, the whole thing is fish are inquisitive, kudu inquisitive as you dive down. the idea is they kind of slide in over you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then you kind of sit in the bottom. I always like to swim up. In
So what Marcus is doing?
He was timing. Every dive, he was waiting for me to dive down.
And as they came into
I go down like this, and I'm still on the kudu will come like this, and he'll time his dive perfectly. And he'll drop down straight away. As I get to the bottom, look up at my fish, he's already timed his dive perfectly. Poof! How'd you know all that, bro?
I worked you. So he was using you as
I think we spoke.
You were his giant flasher.
Well, we've laughed about it a few times, bro. I mean, you might deny it, I might not deny it, but it was all a good fun.
No, I can definitely see Marcus doing that.
I said, go down over there now.
Yeah, go away. Oh, that's classic, eh? But yeah, I mean, it's been good chatting, man. It's been good catching up again.
Yeah, I mean, you reminded me of a few things that I probably would have deleted from
the hard drive.
Yeah, the hard drive. Hard drive was only at 20% these days.
Yeah, the hard drive. We won't mention many of the onshore adventures from Mozambique.
Yeah, no, those I definitely don't remember.
No, don't talk. We don't remember those ones. Yeah.
But yeah, get on that little boy thing.
Yeah, maybe we'll try that.
I think that'll be something the guys will be in for.
Yeah. But it's good to have you, and very, very, very good to see you again. I mean, I haven't seen you for a long time, and like I say, a lot of you guys won't recognize you because when you really did spend a lot of time on the water.
Ugly, bro.
No, I think it was when you were spending a lot of time, and then obviously that was pre-COVID years.
Yeah, yeah.
And then since COVID, you've obviously other things and other diving, but you don't pop up in the same spots.
Yeah, a little bit out of the realm.
And that's where I say, like, a lot of the guys that I always like to say, a lot of these guys in this Legend series, a lot of the pioneers of fishing off a kayak in various ways. And I see you as a pioneer of the spearfishing off a kayak. Sure. Because we would talk. I mean, Marcus would talk about it, you'd come and would talk. Remember, we used to sit there at the old factory and we would go like, man, like, okay, cool, yeah. And then you'd come up with ideas or you'd try different things.
Definitely.
And you would always pop up the photos. And I think even at one stage you even fished off a quad bike jet, not a quad bike, a jet bike. Aquaquad,
yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So.
And I tried the same thing with it. You know, obviously it's a small little boat, but obviously you couldn't. Where the boat went, you went. You know, opposed to with the ski, you could take the ski with you. So I was thinking the same sort of thing. Obviously, it was going to be a bit heavier, but it never really panned out. Really, but yeah.
And when you want to ski, you're your own top man, eh? So you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't need crew.
You don't need to go. This is Aloe Shoal, and was it you that used the top man that was fishing off the beach, and he left you, and you had to swim all the way back?
Oh no!
That's not you.
No, that was.
Or did you?
We're traveling.
I know you've swum back from the shoal.
Oh no! It was actually on my birthday.
Happy birthday, Brod!
Yeah, we travelled from Aliwal to the Park. We used to dive for cobra on the Park.
Yeah.
It was another chap, Gary, and he just bought the skivvy. Random afternoon. We used to launch afternoons and do little quick dives and go look for a cobby and be back. And it didn't really work out in the Park. So then we're travelling with the swell, kind of back to it. But the Park was almost a little bit out to sea, if I remember. So travelling back with the swell, and for some reason, I mean, it happened with the small diving boats. I don't know what happened on that occasion. That sometimes the boat would broach, and you get thrown off. It's fine.
Yeah,
you know, the guy turn around, come pick you up. You know? And this happened for some reason on this random day. The boat broached. I landed in the water, and turned around, and he's next to me, and the boat's just.
It's in gear, it's still going.
And going straight, straight. And the Unkelmars was flooding. Unkelmars River was flooding at that time, so there was at least 4 k's of dirty water.
And you're 6 k's out to sea.
And we.
Well, I mean, the shoal's 6 point something.
And I think that if I remember, the Park's almost a little bit deeper, so like it was a real miles out. Actually, my pumping north-south current. So no fins, no nothing in our wetsuits. And,
no fins?
No, we both.
Well, your gear's still on the boat.
The boat's.
So you're in a wetsuit and no fins.
And we miles out to sea, and I promise you, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we start swimming, and that's
together. Though you stayed together.
Start swimming, and I mean, we're both getting a bit tired. The other chap,
as you would.
I was never too sure how, and it was all the ideas were all in the head. Like who's going to make it, who's not going to make it. We definitely are going to make it. It's going to be probably into the hours of the next morning.
Yeah.
You know, who knows how it's going to play out. Plus, we got 4 k's of chocolate water.
So for the average person, if you go and swim 6 k's without a wetsuit, put your head down and swim now, it's going to take you and I'm talking about an average person, it's going to take you an hour and a half to 2 hours. Eh? That's no current.
Yeah.
That's no swell. So I mean, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're in wetsuits.
Yeah.
And you're not swimming like you're swimming a freestyle. So you're lucky if it's 4 hours of swimming. Well, minimum 4 or 5 hours of swimming.
It'll be into the dark. And then, luckily we had a bit of a north-south current, which I think kind of helped us. But we would have drifted completely across the inside of Tiger Alley and the inside of Alor, for starters. And that was a guarantee. You know, that was when the prime time of the early days of
all the tigers.
All the tigers. And as it turned out, the boat had ended up way out behind Alor. One of the commercial boats had radioed it in that the boat had ended up going in circles, and the guys dropped their anchor rope into the props and managed to stop the boat. Yeah. These guys had phoned some guys in Toti, and these guys from Toti were like, come to salvage this boat, bro. They got in another boat, like this is like getting dark now. Yeah. Jumped in the boat, and there's no one on the ocean. Right? Yeah, it is. That time it's Alor in the evening, and like everyone's gone home. There's not a single boat. I promise you, there's no one. And this boat had launched out of Onkamaz. Not a good sea at all either. Yeah. We're coming to salvage this boat, and ended up literally I saw them when they were like, we saw them, we could hear them, but they didn't see us. They were like 20 meters away before we had to wave our hand. They almost rode over us.
Oh my gosh.
So
the ocean's wide.
Ocean's wide. Yeah. They only saw us like 20 meters away.
And how far were you from the beach then?
We're still many k's, okay. Miles. But the fact that they almost drove straight over us ahead, we had to like, wait, what's going on? Where are you going? Hey, we got to go salvage. It's obviously the whole story.
Salvage your boat.
And it's just incredible that these guys drove literally on the whole ocean. We've drifted probably 5 k's, and they've just so happened to
nearly ran you over.
I mean, if they were 100 meters to the right and the left, they probably
you never would have seen them. They would have been looking ahead and going.
They would have been looking ahead, and the sea wasn't great. So so I went home and got pissed that night.
So that ends with the legends. That's why he's a legend, gents.
No, that was a hell of a story. Quite possibly one of us wouldn't have made it, and it turned out all right.
Turned out in the best. You still here?
Still, yeah.
Still shooting fish?
Still shooting fish.
And you collect specimens now for fun?
Love the marine fish.
Yeah.
Probably do more of that these days. The ocean's a bit of a different place.
As you get older, you learn to window shop.
Yeah, hey, the ocean's
when you're younger, you shoot everything. Yeah. When you get older, you like to window shop.
No, you definitely feel a bit more.
And that goes into everything in life, though.
No, everything.
On that note, we better check out.
I wish I could shoot that. Maybe I can buy that.
And that note, we might have to end that, eh?
Yeah.
But thanks. Great. Good one, brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Check it out.